Hi everyone, welcome to the Tropic Marin channel. Today we're going to do something really different, not looking at corals or cutting up corals or doing whatever. We're here at the Northsea, our beautiful home ocean, if you will. Our goal today is to catch some critters for the public aquarium here in Wilhelmshaven, specifically a jellyfish. Kai from the aquarium is kind of in need of some new jellyfish. They have a license to catch critters for educational purposes. We have a license to catch for research and educational, so that's a good cooperation. Now we want to try to get some jellyfish. We have a few species we're really looking for. So we have comb jellyfish that are really plentiful, but these are introduced. These are ctenophores. These are not the jellyfish we look for. We look for the Aurelia, the bigger roundish ones, and the compass jellyfish, I think in English. These docks are swimming docks. So we always have the same distance to the ocean, and you can see that there is a lot of algae growing, but also oysters. We have many oysters here, the Pacific oysters, Pacific giant oyster, Chrysostrea gigas, that was also introduced. It's not a native species. The native oyster has been gone for a long time, and now the Pacific oyster, it's taking its place and creating also new ecosystems like oyster reefs that are getting really large and are also then inhabited by Japanese algae. So we have a very dynamic ecosystem here that is changing very fast, very rapidly, and getting quite diverse in terms of introduced species. It's a lot of change here, but not everything is bad. So it's very dynamic and very interesting. You can also find a lot of shrimp here on the docks, like the Palemon elegans. We also use in our aquarium facilities because you can adjust them to higher temperatures, and I always like to have them as kind of a cleaning crew. They eat leftovers, they don't do any harm to coral, and they can live really long also in high temperatures. So some of them we have in 26 Celsius for more than 3 years now, so they can adjust to even tropical climates. I would say enough talking, and let's get the net in the water and see what we can find here. Palemon shrimp, they always like to sit on the vertical structures, and here we have a lot of the small ones. There's a lot of mysids, like the mysis shrimp. Many of you probably know as like frozen food, and here's plenty of them live, so great live food. And the Palemon shrimp are the bigger ones. These are the ones from last year. Just babies from this year are now also like 2-3 centimeters. So now end of August is actually the best time to catch them. They're still close to the surface, and in winter time when the water gets cold in fall, and they migrate to the deeper zones, and then it's really hard to catch them. We also have some sand gobies like the Pomatoschistus. These are also super cool fish. On the walls it's all the oysters. These are green mussels. Haven't seen these quite a bit. So these are the original mussels we have here, green mussel. And the oyster. Here's more green mussel, nice. There's a big oyster shell that is dead, and then there's small ones already growing on top. And these used to be everywhere, basically, and now it's more and more of the oysters. Well, we haven't been so lucky with the jellyfish, unfortunately. So it's depending on the tide and different factors, and luck is also a big factor in catching the right jellyfish here. But speaking of luck, we were lucky enough to see the porpoises, our tiny little whales, the relatives of dolphins, and they were swimming around right here just in front of us for a little while, hunting for fish. The fish that we didn't see or catch today. That's always beautiful to see. It's kind of common here, but you still need a bit of luck to see them, especially in this time of the year. I think now we'll wrap up and go over to the aquarium and see what we see there. Back at the aquarium, unfortunately with a super empty bucket. Our catching expedition was not successful, so we didn't bring any jellyfish to Kai. Luckily, Kai still has some really beautiful Aurelia, which are already, I think, 1.5 years, so really old for this type of jellyfish. So thanks to the good care that they get here, they can grow big and old. Of course, they need to feed, so they like the Artemia brine shrimp, the Northsea. Now there's also a almost ready to use dry food for jellyfish from Tropic Marin, the jellyfish food, and it's a very fine powder, comes with a measuring spoon. So you mix it with the system water, you put it in, and then they can catch the particles. This contains a wide variety of nutrients, fatty acids, so it's a good addition to live food. You can also use it as a full nutrition for your jellyfish. I would say let's mix some up and give these guys some lunch. On the can there is a description how to use it and detailed information about the components that are in. So you basically just take system water, put a tiny amount of water in our little mixing tub. Basically the powder is being mixed. All right, try to make the particles small. All right, so here's our yum yum jellyfish soup. So application is fairly easy. You just put it a little bit in here, and due to the circulation, the jellyfish will, of course, get in touch with the particles and are able to collect them with their tentacles and feed on them to live long and prosper. You feed basically as much as they eat within 10 minutes, and depending on the stocking density and species, can feed several times a day. I'm very happy that we could still show the live application with live jellyfish. If you have any questions or comments, then let us know. If you want to keep jellyfish yourself, there's a really easy way to feed them. All right, take care. See you next time. Bye-bye.